Hi everybody! Today I want to show you how to do a faux letterpress technique using an embossing folder and some ink. And you can see it here on this card inside the negative space. The pattern that's been created is done with this faux letterpress technique. So let's get started. What I have here is I have an embossing folder and I have my ink. This is a dye-based ink, but this is a really great juicy ink pad, so this will work well for this technique. I would really recommend using a pigment ink pad for this technique. It just seems to add a really nice finish, so use a pigment ink pad if you get a chance. So what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to find the raised side of your embossing folder that has the higher. Now this one with the pattern, it doesn't really have a raised side, so we're just going to pick a side and we're going to apply our ink directly to the embossing folder. Don't worry. You can just take a paper towel and some of your regular cleaner that you use to clean your stamps with, or you can use a baby wipe or run it to the sink and it will clean off no problem. I'm going to just load up the ink. You can see I'm trying to get it even and a good coverage. Continue to ink. Okay, so there I've got my ink. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of my cardstock and I'm going to place it very carefully onto my pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an extra sheet. This is just text weight paper, just paper you'd put through your printer, and I'm going to stick it inside here because if there's ink, it's going to get all over and this will kind of control it. I'm just going to close it in there. And the text weight isn't going to affect the sandwich as it goes through. It won't cause any issues. Alright, so I'm ready to go ahead and I'm going to put this through my machine. Now, because this is a Spellbinder's Embossability, I am going to use their sandwich in my grand caliber. So I'm going to use the base plate and then I'm going to use my adapter plate and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to run this through. If you're using a different brand of embossing folder, like let's say for example you have a Quick Cuts embossing folder, and I'm trying to pull this through. Okay, there we go. If you're using like this brand here, the sandwich is going to be a little different. I found what works for me with this brand was to use the base plate, the folder, and then my rubber mat and my embossing. That seemed to work for this brand of embossing folder. So you're going to have to experiment with your machine and with your different brands of embossing folders as you do this technique. Alright, so I've taken and gotten out of the machine, and it is a little tight going through, don't worry. And you can see I've got this really great piece of cardstock that has this faux letterpress technique. And now I could use this as is. I could die cut shapes from this. I could punch shapes from this. You got just a very cool look. So another way to use your embossing folders. We've got a faux letterpress technique. Have fun creating.